Hope you're doing good. Micah back with another video. Back here to talk about my battery settings that I use for my Samsung Galaxy S25. Most of these settings will be available to most Samsung Galaxy devices, so you don't have to worry about the specific Galaxy model. But I've been able to find a better way to really regurgitate my information in a way that's even more understandable and easier to access for you guys. That way you can try these settings out yourself. And I think I've narrowed down my battery settings to about five that I think will work. And I've been on this theme with five features or five settings worth trying. And so I'm going to continue that with this video here. And the first setting we're going to check out is within the settings themselves. And if we're going to come into settings, the reason why I think this is very important is because over the course of time using Samsung devices, you start kind of learning specific patterns with the device, their software, and what works and what doesn't work. And so one of the things I've definitely noticed, unless it's been tweaked with the official One UI 8 software update, it's their battery optimization. And so if you come into apps, find a few apps that you use really often. Like I'm talking about really, really often. For me, it's been a theme, but I love using this as an example. For me, it's YouTube. Find the few apps that you use a whole lot. Come in here to apps, go into that specific app, then come in here to battery. Once you click on battery, you have the option to designate what you want Samsung's battery optimization settings to do to that app. If I were you, it's a suggestion, I would unrestrict that app. What can happen is Samsung's battery optimization algorithm can throw basically faulty error codes, or in other words, in your battery, in your device care, it will act as though the app that you're using a lot is a high drainer. And so what it's going to want to do is try to put it to deep sleep. In order for you to avoid that and for the phone to actually get used to using that app and to really pretty much background suppress the rest of your apps in favor of your favorite apps, unrestrict the apps you use the most. And for me, YouTube is the main one that I use a lot, so I unrestrict it. So I don't have any problems with my device care settings. And to give you an example of that here, if I come into device care, this is what I mean right here. Your battery right here will indicate that there's a problem with probably the app that you're using the most, and most likely it may be a social media app that you use quite often. So you might get an error code right in here where even if you try to optimize, it will still say that there's a high battery draining app or process taking place, and that needs to be put to deep sleep. And so by doing the settings that I just did there with going to an individual app and unrestricting the battery optimization, your battery algorithm will now actually tweak and contort around it and still help you achieve good battery life outside and around that or those specific apps. And so I definitely want to throw that your way right now. First setting to do is tweak your individual app battery settings. Now, what's another setting that I think is very, very useful when it comes to the Samsung Galaxy devices and good battery life? Well, it's really within, you can either access it via device care or the actual battery settings. And if you click on battery, you're going to see this page right here. What I like to do is I come in here to battery protection, and I think for most people, basic is perfect. Do not put it on maximum, and make sure you tap on adaptive protection. So these kind of go hand in hand, basic and adaptive, because that's your good middle ground between basic and maximum. Basic is only when your battery's charged at 100%. Charging will stop until the battery level, you know, drops down to 95%, and then will essentially trickle charge back up again. So that's a way to protect the battery when it comes to charging, but also adaptive protection will stop charging at 80% while you're asleep and finish charging to 100% just before waking up. So if you have a alarm clock set on a regular, or it may learn your habits of when you wake up, and it will gauge that time, and it will fire up the charging to actually start charging the phone faster, so that way you have 100% upon waking up. The reason why I think those two are really good is because if you look at maximum, this charges will stop at a level you set, and the lower the level, the more you can extend the battery's lifespan. But let's say you don't think to turn maximum off and you're about to be gone on a long trip, or you're going to be gone on a long day, and you only set your battery to be 80%, 85%. Well, now, because you're not going to be around a charger, your phone's dead because you don't have that additional 15%. And so now you don't have access to your phone. I think that's why maximum is only for specific users who are very, very detailed when it comes to their battery life, when it comes to the diagnosis of their own usage, and they may even have other settings that they're using to capitalize on that maximum, or they may even be using routines to also optimize those maximum settings. And so I think maximum is a bit too far. I think basic and adaptive protection is a really good fundamental place to protect your battery, so it also extends it over the course of your use with the device. Now, if you're a person who upgrades your phone every 1 to 2 years, it's probably not even a big deal to really have battery protection on for you personally. But for the next user who has your device, you're actually doing them a favor by protecting the battery. So when you sell it, or when the company sells it, when you trade it in or whatever, the next person to get the device may actually have a much better chance at being able to have longevity with your old Galaxy device. So that's really kind of like a future proofing feature there when it comes to battery life. That is feature number 3, or feature number 2, or setting number 2. Now, what is setting number 3 that I would suggest to use when it comes to your battery life? Well, let's go on into Good Lock, because this is going to be a combination of, well, not Good Lock, my bad, Good Guardians. This is a combination of native settings and hidden settings. So if we come into my Samsung folder and we look for my Good Guardians, it's somewhere in here. I swipe over, and there it is, Good Guardians. Good Guardians has a Battery Guardian app. If we jump in here, this is where I find this to be very sweet. So, app saving, perfect. Power saving during bedtime, perfect. This gives you more granular control over that adaptive protection that I showed you in the other settings, right? When it came to your device care settings. Setting the sleep time. Now that you have your sleep time set, this works in harmony with being able to charge your device back up to 100% when you can, when it's appropriate. So that way you wake up refreshed with 100%. I find this to be very, very good indeed here when it comes to your power saving during sleep time. So you see it extends battery life by automatically optimizing and limiting performance during sleep. So it's a twofold situation. Not only will your phone recognize that you wake up around 8, or in my case 8 o'clock a.m., to finish charging the device, but the CPU is also more idle and less active, meaning less activity going on with the phone overall, which also extends battery life if it's not on the charger. And if it is on the charger, it's just keeping the phone real cool and steady, and then ready to fire up when I need it throughout the day. So I find this to be perfect, a perfect harmonious, cohesive duo when it comes to protecting and extending my battery life. And then app saving, of course, optimize battery drawing apps to extend your battery life. And so this is where this will basically super enhance the battery saving algorithm. And by having those apps unrestricted, the ones that you use most often, this can help power save around those apps. And so that's what I've been able to find very effective when it comes to my battery life on my Samsung Galaxy S25 are these discrete settings here. So that way I don't have to worry about my phone dying on me out of nowhere. And then, of course, if you want to do anything here, extend battery life by optimizing settings that use a lot of battery power. So if you click on this, this is where you can come in here and actually make some additional tweaks if you wanted to. Whenever you turn on, I think, power save, or you hit the optimize button. That's what you hit the optimize button, all this stuff that you have checked off will actually go into effect. So I would definitely say check out Battery Guardian if you wanted to. And then as a side note, I would look in here in Battery Tracker. I don't even think I have mine downloaded. This essentially shows you basically an even better, program of how your battery's activities are when it comes to screen on time, battery level, and it should be able to also track the different apps. So your app usage You might get more, yeah, you do. As you see the apps back here, you get an even more detailed look at your battery statistics when it comes to the apps you use, and that actually can give you a better idea as to what apps to unrestrict or to uninstall completely, whether or not you use the app or that's one of your most used apps. Battery tracker will actually help you with that. So that is a side note when it comes to battery life and the Samsung Galaxy devices. Now, setting number 4, I have this really turned on only at night because of the AMOLED display. But for me, display dark mode is probably one of the easiest things you can do because it will dark mode and or AMOLED dark mode a lot of your apps or your background stuff, so that way you can save battery in that way, because whatever LEDs that are not emitting any energy is saving you battery life on the back end. And this also may work well with dark, or in other words, AMOLED based wallpapers, where you have way more black going on your wallpaper than not. Another great way to save yourself another 5-10% of battery life over the course of the day, extending your battery life range that much more, and that is by means of turning on dark mode. In my case, my dark mode settings are set to sunrise to sunset, so that way I can maintain have a good level of light in this way, because for me, I get annoyed seeing my fingerprints from time to time or just smudges on my screen. So by having it emitting light makes my display feel more clean. Then that way at night, when things are just darker in general around me, I don't see those smudges and fingerprints on my display, because everything's kind of more ambient dark around the phone, on top of the phone being more darker. So those are 4 settings that I have for you guys that really help you maximize your battery life on your Samsung Galaxy device. And the last setting I would say that you can tweak and adjust, which you have to do a little bit more kind of homework or control over this, but control your location settings. So for me, or however you want to access it, if I swipe down here, I press and hold on location, it's going to take me in a location, right? This is where it's going to basically show me like my recent access to my locations. You can go in here to app permissions and essentially control what all apps have access to your location. And what you can do is actually change specific aspects of permission to access your location. Location or GPS is another big battery drainer. So let's say, for instance, I want to come in here to my Progressive app. Right now I have it allow all the time, but if I want to, I can change it to allow only when using the app or ask every time. What this does is it limits the access to location, thus not triggering it, and then now it's not seeping battery life in the background needing GPS. And so you can do that with pretty much any app you want. Again, allow all the time, allow only while using the app, ask every time. So certain apps that I use, like my audio, hardware, like my headphones, so that way they know when to turn on my noise cancellation or to change the pressure with my Sony XM3s, or like, my Progressive app, which is, my car insurance, having the emergency response is smart, so they got to have location for that. But then sometimes you don't need location on all the time for certain things, like my camera, ask while only using the app. So you play around with this as well, and the less your location's always getting tapped, the less battery life you lose throughout the course of your day. And so those are 5 settings worth trying to maximize your battery life on your device. And again, most of this stuff is accessible via any platform, not just Android and Samsung, but also on your Apple device. So I definitely highly recommend trying these settings out. Let me know down in the comment section below whether or not you tried any of these out, and whether or not you had success trying any of these features out for your device. The comment section is open for discussion down below. Again, as always, if you guys haven't already, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn notification, that's all free. That way you know my videos, so you and I can sit back, check, see what's cracking. And don't forget to hit that super thanks button down there by the like and dislike button, cash out, and PayPal, and check the channel out for all the videos available to you. That's what to keep tech fresh and alive on this channel. Your man Micah signing out until the next video. Wait for it.